fun. Okay, so today we're looking at to understand percentages as decimals and fractions. You should have completed your spaced activity already. So today we're going to crack on with looking at a quick whistle-stop tour about percentages. So percentages are really important, but 100 is our magic number. So when we're thinking about, everything has to be out of 100 for percentages. So thinking about our bar, so if I went and, let's go to the next slide. We've got some examples here. We've got, think of it as changing it into a fraction, so if it's out of 100. So for example, 10% would be 10 out of 100. So you've got your 10 as your numerator, your 100 as your denominator. If you look at 5%, you're thinking about 5 as your numerator and 100 as your denominator. 62, for another example, percent would be 62 over 100, so 62 as your numerator, over 100 as your denominator. And here 99% is bar, like I say 99% is 99 over 100. Okay, so when we're thinking about percentages, always out of 100, if for example Mrs. Smith thought about 50% on the next slide, it would be 50% full or 50% empty. We can know that 50% means a half. Okay, and I can show that in a bar representation. So over here, if I've got my bar, I can put it in half. So with that, I'm thinking if this is 0%, this is 100%. This shaded in area would be represented 50%. So that would be 50%. So therefore, this other bit that isn't coloured in would be what percentage? Thank you.
50%.
Would be 50%. Why is it 50% over this side as well?
Because 50% could also be a half, so and two halves make a whole.
Yeah, well explained. So you've got to remember, this is my chocolate bar, the whole chocolate bar, the whole chocolate bar, the whole is 100%. Half of it is 50%, the other half that isn't shaded in is 50%. Well done. Okay, so if we're looking at also in relation to fractions, so we would see that half would look like this, and we know that that's equivalent to 50 over 100. Okay? When we're also thinking about that as a decimal, if we think about what that looks like as a decimal, if we've got our 50, what? 50 hundredths. So if we write that into our place value, we've got our 0 ones, our decimal place, we've got our 5 tenths and our 0 hundredths. Okay, so that would be our 50% as a decimal, so that would equal 0.5 as a decimal. We can show that in a bar representation, so we've got our 0 here, and imagine that this is our 1, our whole number. So again, if we imagine that's like a number line, 50% as a decimal would be 0.5. So I hope that makes sense, as if you've got a number line here. So again, in the bar, that's it represented in as a decimal. Of course, representation could also be in shapes and shaded. So I've got a couple of examples. We've got our circle, so again this can be cut in half. That can be shaded in. This triangle could be cut in half. Oops, not quite as accurate as it should be. So that's 50% of the triangle, 50% of the circle. If we're thinking about our percentage in a different representation, such as a part-part whole, we could have our 100% up here, and again we can show that we've got our 50% that then can be added to our 50%. That makes our whole. So we've got our whole and our part and our part. Okay, moving on to our next slide on our PowerPoint. There are lots of other examples. So how it can be written as decimal. So you can see that our 17% relates back to our 1 digit. Here goes to our tenths, Our 7 digit goes to our 7 hundredths. Or you could say it as 17 hundredths, 0.17. You've got our 35%, 0.35. Be careful, as we've already explained with our other example, the 5% has to be 5 hundredths. Okay, so remember it's over 100. Our other slides then give us some examples of 10%, which we're going to go into further detail in the subsequent lessons. So often in shops and things you have special offers which are reduced in price, and some of these further examples give examples of that. For example, if a jumper is £30, half of 30 would be £15. So again, you say £15. So lots of goods and services have half price offers. Okay, I'm going to move to our slides for today, our support slides. I'm just going to pop those on. Okay, so this representation shows a bit like our 100 squares. So again, you can see some shaded in squares. These show again out of 100, out of the whole. So here we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shaded in. So it will be 5 parts over 100. So what percentage would that be? Yes?
5%.
5%, thank you. What would that look like as a decimal? Yes?
0.05.
Thank you. Let's look at the next example. Here we've got 10, 20, 30, 32, 35 coloured in. What would that be? Yes?
35 over 100.
Thank you. 35 over 100. What would that be as a percentage, please? Yes?
Would it be 35%?
Yeah, 35%. And what would that look like as a decimal? Yes.
0.35.
Excellent. So how many hundredths are there? 5 and 3, or you could say 35 hundredths. Okay, well done, excellent. So you're going to move on to some other examples in your work now. Okay, that's your follow-up. Thank you.